Hello, thank you for joining me today. I hope you are healthy and staying safe. और कोविड के टाइम में मुझे लगता है कि स्टेइंग सेफ, बीइंग हेल्दी ये बहुत ज़्यादा हमारी डेली की बातों में शामिल हो गया है और ये अच्छी बात है हेल्दी रहना। तो आज का हमारा एपिसोड भी आपकी हेल्थ से फिटनेस से रिलेटेड है। आई विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट पीसीओएस और पॉलीसिस्टिक ओवरी सिंड्रोम। पीसीओएस एक हार्मोनल डिसऑर्डर है जिसके लिए आपकी जेनेटिक्स, आपकी लाइफस्टाइल रिस्पॉन्सिबल हो सकती है। इससे हमारे बहुत सारे हेल्थ इश्यूज आ सकते हैं। द मोस्ट वेल नोन वंस आर इनफर्टिलिटी एंड डायबिटीज। इसके बारे में मेरे पास बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, रिक्वेस्ट आती रहती हैं कि पीसीओएस के बारे में प्लीज एक एपिसोड लेके आओ। तो आज के एपिसोड में मैं बात करने वाली हूँ रिनाउंड न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट सिमरन चोपड़ा से। पीसीओएस के बारे में वो अपनी पीसीओएस की जर्नी, फिटनेस जर्नी शेयर करेंगी। साथ ही वो पीसीओएस के कॉजेज, रिस्क एंड ट्रीटमेंट्स और रादर कंट्रोलिंग पीसीओएस इनके बारे में बात करेंगी। And before we start, I would like to remind you that if you love Little Fixes, तो प्लीज हमें सोशल मीडिया पे शाउट आउट दीजिए। यू कैन टैग अस ऑन इंस्टाग्राम एंड फेसबुक एट लिटिल फिक्सेस पॉडकास्ट। आप हमारे एपिसोड को अपनी फ्रेंड्स एंड फैमिली के साथ शेयर कर सकते हैं और आप हमें रेट एंड रिव्यू कर सकते हैं एप्पल पॉडकास्ट पे, अपने फेवरेट पॉडकास्ट प्लेटफॉर्म पे आप हमें सब्सक्राइब भी कर सकते हैं। तो देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ वेज टू कनेक्ट विद अस, बट नाउ इट्स टाइम टू कनेक्ट विद सिमरन। Hey there, welcome to Little Fixes, a podcast for the sassy, classy and a little choosy भारतीय नारी। This is Macri। मैं और मेरे गेस्ट शेयर करते हैं सिंपल प्रैक्टिकल आइडियाज जो आप इजीली फॉलो कर सकते हैं to get closer to the kind of life you want to live. We talk about career, self-care, social media tips, parenting, relationships and so much more to help you thrive. All of this is mixed with a lot of laughter. So my lovely friend, continue what you're doing and join me in this real talk. So today on Little Fixes, we have Simrun Chopra. Simran is a fitness icon to say the least and I have been following her for years. और उनकी फिटनेस जर्नी ने मुझे बहुत इंस्पायर किया। व्हेन आई वाज अ न्यू मॉम, आई वाज लाइक अच्छा ऐसे साइज चेंज हो सकता है इफ यू वर्क ऑन इट। लाइक आई हैड नो आइडिया अबाउट एनीथिंग कि कैसे ये हो सकता है इन अ हेल्दी वे। एंड व्हेन आई सॉ हर इंस्टाग्राम पोस्ट आई रियलाइज दैट यस इट कैन बी डन इन अ हेल्दी वे। और उनकी जर्नी को फॉलो किया मैंने। ऑब्वियसली देयर हैव बीन अ लॉट ऑफ डेवलपमेंट सिंस देन। आई हैव been fitter and she has been one of the persons who has inspired me to get fitter, and today she's on Little Fixes podcast. So before we start, let's welcome Simran. Hi Simran, how are you?
I am good. Thank you for having me.
We are thrilled to have you here. And before we start, we would like to know a little about your fitness journey, like your struggle with fitness, how you overcame it. We would love to know from you.
Thank you. So I think my journey was like a lot of other people where you just keep putting things off, or you try little things, right? Where you try a diet, it didn't work, and you try something else you read online and say, oh, that didn't work for me either. But you never really get serious with it. Mostly because I think we don't understand the essence or importance of it. So for me, unfortunately, I was put at a crossroad where I had no choice. I was already, like after having my baby, I was already really struggling with PCOS symptoms. I was struggling with postpartum depression. I had endometriosis. I had a severe back issue. To name just a few things, I can go on with my list. But when you have a child, you start to think, oh my God, I have so much to do for this baby and I have no time.
Yes.
Right? And as a new mother, automatically you think that the baby comes first and you are later.
Yeah.
And I think in India, what happens is we say, okay, my family comes first. I need to do this for my husband. I need to get this done at home. I need to do this work. I need to cook this. I need to get my baby sorted. And it's all about that. And especially if it's a new mom, if you see sometimes the baby's all dressed up and ready and you look like a wreck, right?
Yeah.
Because so much time has been spent on dressing up this baby and putting it together. And when it comes to you, you're like, oh my God, I forgot to even put on my kajal, right? So we take a back seat. We intentionally, I find as women, we put ourselves later. And I did the exact same thing. And then one day when my baby was 3 months old, I was picking him up from bed to take him and change his diaper. And I just collapsed.
Oh.
I fell to the floor. Luckily, I dropped him on the bed. I'm so glad that, that's what happened. And I was lying on the floor. I couldn't move and I was screaming. And there was this lady in the house who comes to clean, and she came and I couldn't get up. So I had to call my husband. So basically my back gave out. You know, when you keep thinking, we'll do it later, baad mein kar lenge, wo baad mein doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then you come to it. For me, it came to that extreme threshold, which I wish nobody ever has to get to. So I collapsed. I spent more than 4 weeks, I think, crawling around the house. I needed help to even sit on the toilet. So you were kind of reduced to that horrible state. And for nearly 3 months, I had recurring pain in my back. So it had become so bad that I couldn't go for a movie. I couldn't go for dinner. I couldn't sit anywhere because if I sat down for more than 30 minutes, I couldn't stand back up. There have been times that my husband has carried me out of a restaurant, and his friend had to carry me out because I just couldn't stand back up. This happened to me 3 times, and it was the third time after I'd been hospitalized for a while that I said, you know what? If this is what happens to me when I'm 30, what in the world is going to happen when I'm 40 or 50? How am I going to walk around?
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, so that was sort of my wake up moment, because that's when you realize, and this is what I try to tell every mom that I meet, that we are so stressed out about our kids, right? And our kids are doing this, and I need to get this done, and I need to get their food done. If you see, most moms don't put their food first. It's always the child. I have to get theirs. Jo bacha kucha hai, main kha lungi. Arey, apne aap kyun, for me, why should I do? Yeah, who's going to make so much effort? Yeah. So this is some things I hear all the time, right? But if you think about it, the fruit can only be as healthy as the tree. Right? So if you can't take care of yourself, and if you're not taking care of yourself, there will come a time where the multiple symptoms that you will see is fatigue, tiredness, being cranky, losing your temper with your children. These are just symptoms saying that your body is tired, that you need to take care of yourself.
Yes.
So if like you've been on my program and you see the reason, there's lots of carbohydrates in my program, if you see, right? And everybody says, don't eat rice and don't eat roti and all these things. And I'm like, one, it doesn't need to be removed. We can talk about that later. But more importantly, it's something that the body needs. And I really want people to be nourished. And you will find that if you do a diet where you remove all these things, you will be cranky and irritable. And if you're a mom, you know that this will come out on your child.
Oh, yes.
Right? According to me, it is impossible to get through the day with a little toddler or a child and not lose your temper if you are hungry and food deprived and irritated and have a headache, correct?
Yeah, happens.
Yeah. So a lot of thought has gone into developing the programs, which I think, people might not see on the outside. So apart from the nutritional value, making sure that all the nutritional values are met, it's nutrient dense. I look at sodium, and look at so many factors, from is it good for PCOS, thyroid, we look at so many things. But then I think a lot of people nowadays miss out with health and fitness is looking at that mental aspect.
Yes.
Right? So for example, if you've been on the program, we stress a lot about that evening snack, right? It's to make sure that your blood sugar levels don't drop and you eat something that you like to eat so that you don't go and snap at someone else and be irritable.
Yes.
Because it ruins your day, right?
Yes.
So much, I think my journey has in so many ways helped me change the narrative of fitness from being just, listen, you just do this diet, you eat very little, you can only eat what I tell you to eat. And it doesn't work. I don't want people to be irritable and angry and anxious and use lots of willpower and make so much extra effort. No, I just want you to take care of yourself.
Yes, and it's not sustainable in the long run also if you deprive yourself of everything.
Exactly. In fact, for the majority of people that we see on the programs tell us, listen, this food is too much. We've had people fight with me saying this food is too much. How can I lose weight?
Yeah.
And we are like, you will see how this works and how your body, the idea is as women, we need to understand, we need to stop surviving and we need to start thriving.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And to thrive, it's not that number on that scale that is going to make you thrive. It is how you feel about yourself, how strong you are, how fit you are, what your mental health and your mood is like. Right? And I think that has inspired everything we do on all the programs, anything I put on Instagram, anything. It comes from that one part that I was surviving, and look what happened. I don't want that. I don't want anyone else to be surviving. You have to thrive.
Yes. So even what happened with me, I gained some weight after I gave birth to my daughter, and I was like, okay, I don't look that bad in the traditional sense, like we say now, we have to look a certain way, we have to be a certain shape. So I was like, okay, I will wear a little loose clothes and things like that. I don't want to, I don't have to do modeling, so I don't have to worry about it. But after a point, like following some other amazing women, I realized that this is not just about looking good. This is about being fit, being there for your child. At least if you are putting everything away for your child, at least be fit for your kid. So that's when I realized I need to be fit, at least for her, for my family, if not for myself. And it changed my life. So I completely agree with you. We don't need to survive, we need to thrive. And when we look after ourselves, we survive and we thrive actually.
Yes, completely.
So,
And I think the one
yes.
always remember is that women feel very guilty when they say, "Oh, I need to work out and I have to leave my child, or I have to do some other work." But you have to understand that if you don't put yourself first,
Mhm.
tomorrow if you get sick, then who takes care of anybody else?
Yes. And coming to PCOS, Simran, you said that you were diagnosed with PCOS after you had your child, right?
No, no, no. I've
Mm-hmm.
had PCOS since I was, I don't know, 17, 18.
Oh, okay. So, what exactly is PCOS? Because when I was 17, 18, one of my friends was diagnosed with PCOD, and we had no idea what it is. We thought it was some really serious issue, or whatever. And now it is a very common term. Like I know a
Yeah.
lot of people. It
Common.
is everywhere. And first of all, let's find a bit about. Tell us a bit about what is PCOS.
So the thing is that just because it's common doesn't mean that it's not serious.
Yes.
Unfortunately, most of India is not even aware. A lot of people are not aware if their child or daughter has it.
Mm-hmm.
It is aggravated by our lifestyle choices
Mm-hmm.
completely. It is a lot like diabetes, where you can't really cure it, but you can
Mm-hmm.
control it.
Okay.
And so, like, just the way you can control diabetes via either medication and change in lifestyle. So, usually, change in lifestyle is the number one sort of medication protocol, whatever you like to call it, that anybody will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of diabetes, as long as you can, type 2 diabetes, I'm talking about, if you can control it easily. Similar with PCOS, it can be controlled,
Mm-hmm.
right? The problem today is the lack of sort of awareness about it.
Mm-hmm.
You can, it is any woman in her reproductive age can get it and has it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right now, the assumption is over 20% of women have it. This is also maybe, I think that this number is much lower only because a lot of people don't know what they have and haven't gone and looked at it or had it checked,
Yeah.
So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think in rural India and lots of places people are checking this. I know a lot of teenagers who had no clue that they have PCOS. So the thing with
Mm-hmm.
PCOS, it's not one thing.
Okay.
It's a syndrome so basically it is made up with multiple different facets. You
Mm.
could have maybe two or three of those symptoms, you could have all, you could have only one. So it really depends on how severe yours is and how your body is dealing with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So,
Okay.
what exactly it is like? If a 17-year-old gets PCOS, how she gets it? Like, is it genetic, or as you said, it is
So
a
you might
lifestyle, or what?
be, it is lifestyle triggered. You
Mm.
might be genetically disposed to get it.
Okay.
So the thing with genetics is people say, oh, this is in my genes. Sure. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, PCOS is in my genes. The only reason it was not controlled earlier when I was in my teenage years or my early 20s is because I didn't know how to control it and no one had
Mm-hmm.
told me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason it was not controlled. And I wish someone had guided me.
Mm-hmm.
So I am predisposed to thyroid, to BP, to having hypertension. Basically, I am based on both sides of my family. I am predisposed to multiple things. A lot of people try to blame this on genetics, but there's a whole field of nutrition called epigenetics, which
Mm-hmm.
basically studies how our lifestyle choices and the choices we make on a regular basis can influence our genetic makeup. So, in terms of a very simple analogy is, let's say genetics is the gun, then epigenetics or the way you deal with it is the trigger that you
Mm-hmm.
pull, right? So that gun is useless unless you pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Correct? Yeah. So your lifestyle choices, how you decide to live your life, has a huge and plays a large role in how you deal with anything or any syndrome. right? So these are lifestyle, mostly lifestyle related diseases. Now, there can be multiple symptoms. They're easy to maybe even Google, but some of the most common are irregular periods, unexplained acne, sudden unexplained hair fall, hair growth on the chin, on what is called male pattern hair growth or hirsutism. So male pattern hair growth is where you get women usually don't get hair, but now you do. So it's usually the chin area, like the beard sort of thing, the side locks. You get a line down the center from your chest to your navel. And so basically there are a lot of these little patterns that you can see, which are slightly unusual, and that automatically will tell you that you have one of these symptoms and you can go check them. Again, you might have none of these and you might have cysts in your ovary. You might not have cysts in your ovary. PCOS is very vast in that sense. And there are many ways to decide whether you have them or not. But whether you do or not, changing your lifestyle will increase your chances of always having controlled it. Because the major issues with PCOS is if you have it and if it's not controlled, you are more likely to be diabetic by 40. Infertility is a huge deal with PCOS as well. So these two become a huge factor in your general life.
Yes, certainly. So, mostly we associate PCOS with the weight gain or unhealthy lifestyle and things like that. But there is something called lean PCOS also. What is that?
See, the reason that it's associated with weight gain is because you might have a slightly lower metabolic rate. Again, that can be changed over time. Case in point would be me or lots of other people like me. But it can be changed. It is also like PCOS for many people is triggered by poor lifestyle choices, which then basically mean that they are eating more processed food, more oily food, extremely high calories, very high glycemic load food, which then causes a calorie surplus, which then causes weight gain. Right? Now, lean PCOS, you could have any of the symptoms of PCOS, and it doesn't mean that you have to be overweight because for multiple reasons. It could be genetic, it could be that you already exercise, it could be multiple things. But there are people who don't necessarily show as being overweight, like visually overweight. They don't show as being visually overweight, but might have insulin resistance, irregular periods, might have cysts, etc. So it can be both ways also.
Okay.
Now, again, I said visibly overweight only because in India, one of the largest things that is overlooked is that a lot of people, the whole concept of being skinny and slim.
Yeah.
I have so your obesity levels can be defined by your fat percentage. So there are multiple people that I have come across, even personally and across the board, who have very little muscle mass because they don't work out, because they think, oh yeah, I'm skinny, I don't need to work out. For what? I don't need to lose weight. But they have a very high fat percentage. And for a lot of people that we have seen in their normal BMI have a very high percentage. And because of the fat percentage, were actually considered obese, even though they look skinny.
Yeah, skinny fat is something. Yeah. Even I think you share your pictures when you were thinner.
So this is probably more dangerous than being visually overweight, because people who are skinny fat don't realize the kind of damage they're doing to their body, because the perception socially is that you're so thin, you're skinny, why you need to work out for what?
अरे लोग मुझसे कहते हैं like I lost 7-8 kgs and मेरी मम्मी मेरी सासू माँ they are all like कि बस करो, you don't need to lose weight, लोग क्या कहेंगे कि इतनी पतली हो गई. I'm still not very thin.
Yeah, so that is unfortunately in India there is no nutrition. Nutrition is not covered as a subject, and health is not covered as a subject in schooling, at least till now. Luckily, my son now is being taught these things, but in our generations before it, there was no stress on this. So unfortunately in India, there is very, very little exposure to nutrition and what is good for you and not. So that is why you hear these things across the board. We see things like this across the board, because something as simple as what is a carbohydrate, what is a protein, what is a fat is something that is alien to most people, right?
Yes.
But this is general, which we should have ideally been taught in school. And if that level of knowledge had been dispersed, our generation would be much healthier.
Completely agree with you on this. And as you said that PCOS can cause diabetes when you are around 40. Like by the age of 40, there are chances that you can be diabetic, or there are difficulties in getting pregnant. Are there any other symptoms, anything else that can cause harm?
These are not symptoms. These are not symptoms. These are results of not being not controlling it. Getting infertility is a huge one because you will suffer a lot. Even and if it is not controlled, we've had people with PCOS. Let's say you do get pregnant, you can have gestational diabetes, which again puts you at multiple risk factors. If you do not control it, you will become diabetic by 40, right? So
Right.
I will be 40 in 2 years. No, 1.5.
Seriously? Okay.
So my objective has always not been to be skinny or to lose weight. It is to be fit, to strong, to thrive, to eat my desserts when I want to, and I don't want to be diabetic. So that's one of the things that keeps me going, saying I'm going to do this because one, it makes me feel so good. It makes me feel empowered. I have more energy, and most importantly, because I just don't want to be diabetic, and I don't want to have a back pain, and I don't want to be like always stressing out about these things, right?
Yeah.
So PCOS has multiple symptoms from infertility. Basically, you are insulin resistant. The simplest way to kind of understand that is if you have PCOS, you're kind of like being a pre-diabetic.
Okay.
Yeah. So you need to treat your or behave like you are to make sure that you control it. So there are multiple aspects to PCOS. It has multiple symptoms that then express themselves in multiple other ways.
Okay, because someone asked how to detect PCOS.
So if you have any of the symptoms, technically, like if you have anything unusual happening, it's best to just go to your gynecologist and speak to them, and they will then run tests or be able to tell you. Some will be able to tell you upfront by looking at some of the visual symptoms. If you don't have the visual symptoms, they might need to do some tests, right? There are multiple different kinds of tests. You can get away with a scan if you see cysts. If you're not, there are blood tests, hormonal tests. There are so many, but it is best to then go to your gynecologist and figure it out. But lifestyle choices will make a huge difference.
Okay, so you already said that PCOS can cause diabetes if you don't control it, and can it also cause blood pressure and anxiety attacks?
So there are multiple factors. The thing is that there's so much research out there, but then it is all in correlation as well. So uncontrolled if you have uncontrolled PCS, for instance, that means that your lifestyle choices are slightly poorer. If you are then in turn, if your lifestyle choices are poorer in terms of you're not physically active, you're eating a lot of food, let's say high in trans fat, cholesterol, etc., you could put yourself at risk for cardiovascular disease as well. Now, this does not necessarily have to come from PCOS. But could come from those lifestyle choices. So everything according with the human body is connected in a multitude of ways. You could think of the human body more like a supercomputer where there are so many infinite connections that it is not any one thing that causes another. It'll be a mix of multiple things. Right. There's some research on anxiety and depression which are linked to some of the different symptoms of PCOS, but I don't remember reading a meta-analysis. There are one or two research papers, but I haven't read a meta-analysis on it. So maybe I will have to do that. But if you have a slightly more lower metabolic rate, you have poor lifestyle choices, insulin resistance. So there's a play on hormones here, right? Androgens and testosterone. All that can cause you to feel differently. So it can maybe, let's say, aggravate your anxiety or depression. But it doesn't mean that just because you have PCOS, you will have anxiety. The research that exists, the one or two papers I think I read long time ago were very small studies on these. But again, now this is not something. So again, it comes back to those lifestyle choices, because both anxiety and depression benefit from better food choices and from physical activity. And these have actually been proved to be extremely strong methods to combat anxiety and depression, in some cases even over and above medication, right? Or in conjunction with. So again, like I said, there are so many interconnected things that work together that you shouldn't look at it maybe as, you shouldn't look at anything in isolation.
Yes. Okay. So, like you said, that better lifestyle choices can help you in controlling PCOS. So, someone asked how to treat PCOS. What will your answer be?
You can't cure it, at least not now. There is some new research on a supplement that might help. But again, we're not sure of how much it can. We do know that it can be controlled, a bit like diabetes. Right? That means that if you're diabetic, if you're taking a medication, or let's say even you've been weaned off the medication, but you have a very nice life, you have a great sort of lifestyle that supports you completely, then your your diabetes is under control. If you leave and stray from that completely, then obviously it's going to come back. It's simple, right? If you have a diabetic and they're eating dessert whole day and eating like a high glycemic load meal each day and not doing any sort of physical activity, then the diabetes is going to get worse, correct?
Yes, yes. So it is very simple. Like in normal life, what happens कि मान लीजिए हमने कोई program join किया, like if you are healthy all over, like आपको PCOS नहीं है और या फिर कोई और ऐसा कोई problem नहीं है, you are a regular healthy person and maybe you just want to lose a little weight. So you lost that weight और उसके बाद आपको लगा अब तो मैं पतली हो गई हूँ और मैं healthy range में आ गई हूँ, मैं fit हो गई हूँ, and you go back to it अपनी पुरानी lifestyle पे, तो obviously you will वही फिर से हो जाएगा आपका, यू विल गेन ऑल दैट वेट और जो भी आपका बैक एक था या जो भी था दैट विल कम बैक. तो मेरे पास क्या होता है, लोग कहते हैं कि मैंने प्रोग्राम किया फिटनेस का तो आई गॉट थिन, फिर उसके बाद व्हेन आई स्टॉप द प्रोग्राम आई गॉट फैट अगेन. तो आई एम लाइक कि ये लाइफस्टाइल है, इट्स नॉट लाइक कि फिटनेस आपने 3 महीने कर लिया और उसके बाद आप छोड़ दोगे. तो चेंज तो आएगा ही बिकॉज यू आर अगेन गोइंग टुवर्ड्स अनहेल्दी, राइट?
यस. So it's simple. They say, you'll see a lot of people will say कि मैंने gym छोड़ दिया, then my weight came back. Right? कि gym छोड़ने से weight ज़्यादा हो जाएगा. Now the problem here is it's very simple. If you are exercising more, you are burning more calories. Correct? And whatever you're eating, let's say you stop exercising, but you eat the same. But now you're burning less calories. So now your food has become too much because you are not burning as much as you were when you were exercising. So now that same food is now putting you in a calorie surplus. Because you're not burning enough and you start gaining your weight back. So when you stop exercising or stop a program, you have to figure out what your maintenance is, which means that this is how much I need to eat or move if I just want to stay the way I am. Right? Yes. So it is as simple as that. And that is what people don't get over time. That is why you say that, it comes back, etc. But it's simple. Like if you stop exercising and you go back to eating too much food or too many unhealthy things, then your calories are just higher. You are going to gain. Apart from gaining, you're going to really mess with your health. Right? So if you see, that is why on my programs, the calories are not low. We don't go very low on calories. My calories are actually very high on the programs compared to most diets that I've seen anywhere else. The reason I keep it that high is that we don't want people. I want people to be full. I want them to learn how to manage and eat at different levels, which they can do later as well. If you've noticed, that is why I say that you can have to pick your own food. I won't tell you what to eat.
Yes. And that is a wonderful approach because हमें भी लगता है कि we are not deprived of anything. हम कुछ भी खा सकते हैं, but we just have to control portion size or be in calorie deficit.
And you understand how to balance that meal out also. Yes. So apart from portion, it is also about learning to balance that meal because that's where your real nutrients come from. Now, when you do that, so one of the biggest problems right now in India and in this industry is this fixed menu diet plan, where you get a diet plan that says कि कल सुबह you eat 2 dosa with papaya. Afternoon ko you have masoor dal with bindi. So they write out everything for you day wise. Right? That is probably the reason why in India we have so many issues with diets, because that is considered to be one of the worst ways to put someone on the track of fitness or health or nutrition. It's considered to be one of the worst ways to mentally and physically to put someone on diet.
हाँ, लोगों को लगता है कि डाइट का मतलब उबला खाना होता है. अभी फिर भी लोगों में अवेयरनेस आ रही है, बट स्टिल पीपल थिंक लाइक दैट. अगर आपने बोल दिया मैं डाइट पे हूँ, डाइट का मतलब लोगों को लगता है कि खाना छोड़ देना होता है. डाइट का लिटरल मतलब भी ये नहीं होता है.
हाँ, एंड ऑल्सो दैट कि जो डाइटिशियन ने कहा है मेरे को वही खाना पड़ेगा. राइट? एंड दैट इज द वर्स्ट थिंग दैट एनी पर्सन कैन एवर डू, बिकॉज इट डजंट वर्क.
Yes,
कब तक you'll have a dietitian telling you?
Exactly. नहीं कर सकते आप. Yeah.
So that is why I'm very against fixed menu plans. You know, someone asked, I refuse to write a fixed menu plan because it does more damage than good.
agree. So मेरे पास एक क्वेश्चन और आया था. किसी ने पूछा था why we don't see results even after following a proper diet. Like what are the mistakes people make जब उन्हें PCOS होता है, उन्हें लग रहा है कि they are following a proper diet or maybe they are working out also,
So
but
the
still it
question
is
now,
not. हाँ.
to me, the question here really is in the wording. What do
Hmm.
you define as proper?
Mhm.
Right? So in lots of cases, people are working with people with extremely limited knowledge, or
Sure.
looking at things on the internet, finding random things and doing it. And
Mhm.
like I said, like fixed menu plans, they told me what to eat, and they think that's proper. I have seen multiple diets. People send it to me on Instagram all the time. Now,
Mhm.
this is the diet someone gave me, and I look at it and I'm aghast and shocked.
Mm.
It's like I'm like I have actually told people that you do realize that people on my program eat more in one meal than this person is eating for the whole day. It's
Mhm.
like, what is this? You know, a morning nothing, fasting, then you drink buttermilk, then you drink spinach juice, and then there's this one girl, then she had papaya, and then for dinner again you had papaya with buttermilk. This was a
Oh
whole day
my
food,
God.
and I'm like,
I can't do it even for one day.
and this poor girl is doing it. And I'm just like, you realize that according to me, this is not even equal to one meal. Forget your full
Mhm.
day, right?
Oh my God.
So one is
Mm.
what you mean by proper diet? This is
Hmm.
the first concern. The
Hmm.
second concern is that I am following it. So the problem is that a lot of people believe they are following something, but they might be completely off track. For example, that is why if you see, I like on our program, you would have been told to send meal pictures.
Huh.
Yeah, so that is taken into account just for that, because I want to see what you're eating. Because so for example, you told me how I ate two roti. I don't know what size the roti was, shape the roti was, how thick the roti was, what you put on the roti, in the roti. I don't know. I want to see it,
Right. Mm.
because only then can I guide you. Now the thing is, that's why. So one, what is proper diet? Two, I'm following the diet.
Mm.
Is it same or is it completely different? We don't know. But
Mm.
probably the biggest mistake when you don't see results is not understanding maybe the diet that has been given to you,
Mhm.
or that your physical activity is not in place.
Mhm.
This is the
Okay.
most crucial aspect, because fitness and nutrition must go together. While what we call today fitness, our grandparents just called it work. When we think about it,
Yes.
our grandparents did not have elevators, lifts, escalators, right? Yeah, you had to, it doesn't matter which floor you lived on, you just had to walk up and down. There were no emails, which means that if you were working, and if you had to meet someone, you had to physically go to their office and meet them, right? There were no computers for you to be sitting around the whole day. You would be physically writing. You'd have to actually get up and walk to somebody else's desk to give them something, because you
Yeah.
can't really email them and call them. And like, apart from that, if you're looking at the majority of India, we were agriculturists, right? So we were
Yes.
outside. We were working. Yeah, the women were working whole day. You were doing your own cleaning, jharu, puchai. There were no washing machines. You're doing your cooking. You're cleaning the house. You're going, and people were going out getting water, like running in the fields, managing all that. This is physical activity.
Yes.
So we took all that, all this, and threw it out the window, right? And then we said, oh, I just have to sit the whole day. I can't move, right? So that is where the problem has come, where a lot of times we're trying to eat just exactly the way our grandparents did, but in a lot of cases that's not right, because look at the amount they were moving,
Yes.
right? So how much they ate is different. Look at the exposure to being outside, the variety of food, and the thing is that so we have to understand that movement is important. Right? And it is not about exercise as punishment. The reason we call it exercise or fitness now is because you're not active through the day. If you're someone
Yes.
who's, let's say, a dance teacher and you're moving the whole day, I'm not going to tell you, listen, please go and exercise as well. You are doing enough movement, right? So if you have a job that is extremely physical, you don't need more. But 99% of us now have sedentary jobs and lifestyles, right? Nearly everything. I'm in fitness and nutrition. I spend the majority of my day in front of my laptop. And that's just the way the world is. right? So you have to move, you have to get up. Why do we have neck pain and back pain and arm pain? Because we are the human body has not evolved as fast as the lifestyle has. Correct. So if your diet is not working, one, it could be the diet. I don't one, is it proper or not? Are you being able to follow it consistently at least 80% of the time? Following it 2 days doesn't matter. And do you have enough movement in your day? Because no matter how much your diet is, if you're not in a deficit, that means if you're not burning enough, it doesn't matter.
या गॉट यू सो ये सारी चीजें उनको देखनी पड़ेंगी एंड इसके बाद ही वो डिसाइड कर सकते हैं कि वाई दे आर नॉट सीइंग रिजल्ट्स सो सिमरन जैसे आपकी जर्नी रही यू वर नॉट फिटनेस पर्सन लाइक आप इस फील्ड में नहीं थे बट व्हेन द प्रॉब्लम केम टू यू यू फर्स्ट टुक कंट्रोल ऑफ द सिचुएशन बाय योरसेल्फ देन you also educated yourself, then you are educating other people also in getting fitter, and I must say that you don't look like you are about to turn 40 in 1.5 years. So this thing, fitness and everything has really worked for you, and there are tons of people who need to know more about PCOS or fitness in general. So are there any resources you recommend them so that they can educate themselves at least to start with?
I would say that to read reputed either journals or scientific papers, which can be difficult for many people. But if you can't do that, definitely not just some random thing on Google. Stay away from that. The idea then is to find someone of a certain reputation and maybe see what they are saying. It could be, and because of the internet today, you have access to a global community. So you don't have to look at anybody and everybody. You can look at some of the top nutritionists in the world, in the country, and see if sort of their ideology matches with yours, because I find that a lot of people are also pushing their own agenda today. So maybe that's something to look at when you try to follow someone also. So for example, I do know a lot of nutritionists who also sell, let's say, food supplements, and they have some other things. Now obviously they're going to push the agenda for that. Now if I have a keto supplement company, I'm obviously going to be pro keto. Correct. So the idea is to find someone who you believe and you can trust in. It doesn't have to be me. It can be anybody, but a reputable source, and stay away from, I would say, really, really stay away from unreputed sources of anybody. And I say anybody and everybody giving advice. Right? This is dangerous.
अरे लोग मुझसे पूछते हैं like I lost some weight, उसके बाद मेरे पास इतने questions आने लगे. Every time I post pictures, people are like, क्या खाते हो, क्या workout करते हो, please हमें भी बता दो. And I'm like, my body is different. My lifestyle is different, so I cannot tell you anything.
Exactly. So the idea is, how does it, so these are important things that you're saying, which again, if you realize that I've incorporated in my programs, is how does it fit into your lifestyle? And okay, now I know that you are different. So because you are different, that is why I have a nutritionist for you to talk to. So when you enter, we have your details. This is an issue, or she's lactating, or she's breastfeeding, or she has PCOS, or she has thyroid, or I mean everything. We have whatever the person tells us. Like if you're like, so they tailor their answers to that person. So it becomes eventually that sort of program sort of molds and becomes something completely different that is unique to you. So that is what is important for people to realize, that don't do random things off the internet, please. I've had people come to me who got severely sick doing this. One of the most common things that can happen to you from yo-yo dieting, which is doing these random diets and stopping and random diets and stopping, is that you can get gallbladder stones, which in many cases results in the removal of a gallbladder, which I don't want to lose an organ, but I've had someone who kept doing keto and kept DMing me on Instagram for over a year, and I kept telling this person. So I try to reply to all the DMs as much as I can. And I kept telling this lady that I was like, please don't do this. It's useless. No, it's working for me. And then she kept asking me questions. I'm like, but why do you ask me? I keep telling you, don't do it. And then one day she messages me saying that she had like a biopsy where basically it developed into a nerve disorder where one side of her face and one side of her body became paralyzed.
Oh my God.
And it was so sad. And then they told her that this is because of this continuous deprivation. They gave her this thing, and I felt so bad. And I told you so many times that, you don't need to do this. And she's like, now can you help me? I was like, but you need some, why come to this point?
और अब मैं यही बोलूंगी कि अगर किसी ने पूरा एपिसोड स्किप कर दिया है ना, तो ये लास्ट में जो अभी सिमरन ने बोला ना, प्लीज लिसन टू इट and follow it.
So somehow I think that don't sacrifice your health for short-term gain.
Yes.
And this is absolutely critical. And maximum, see, people say that, okay, I will do this, it's like this. If you have to have brain surgery, are you going to go on Google and ask your friend to do it for you?
No.
No, right? So even nutrition and fitness, it is a science on its own. And because the human body is so complex, you should speak to a professional. It doesn't have to be me or my team, but speak to a good professional that you are comfortable with so that you get the right advice, just like you would with a doctor, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you try these things on your own, it can be dangerous because you don't know what you're playing with.
Yes.
Yes. There are some foods and some supplements that people might take and might have an interaction with some other medication. We don't know. And the thing is that people look for that short-term quick fix. One is the short-term quick fix, or this is free information. I will use this. I've seen people do cabbage soup diet, and I don't know what else. But what you don't realize is the health tax that you pay. That is basically the amount that you will spend on your health if it is poor health. Every time you go to the doctor, every time you go for a test, every time you go for insurance, all that, right? Yes. So I'd rather, at least for me, I'd rather go to someone who is. Even if it's like a doctor, I'd rather go to someone who's reputed and get that information, even if he's like double the price, but I get the right information than going randomly to random people, and jeopardizing my health.
Yes. So Simran, thank you so much for sharing your insights and making people aware with your words with a very honest conversation. So let me please let the audiences know how can they connect with you and can find more about your work online.
Okay, so very easy to find me. You can just Google me, Simrun Chopra with a U. So Simrun, like Simran, and I'm the only person who shows up. You can otherwise so if you say Simrun Chopra, you can head over to my website or also nourishwithsim.com. And all the details are there. I mean, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm everywhere. So if you just Google Simran with a U, Sim and Run, you will find me. So I think if there's anything anyone takes away, I think what fitness and nutrition does for you, it kind of reverses aging. It makes you younger, it makes you fitter, it makes you stronger, gives you more energy, makes you more productive, makes you more efficient. There's literally no downside to being fit.
Yes.
So do take good care of your health if you have PCOS, and I'm sure सिमरन ने जो भी आपको यहाँ पर टिप्स दिए हैं वो आपकी हेल्प करने वाले हैं. तो अगर आपको इस एपिसोड से कुछ भी वैल्यूबल मिला है तो डोंट फॉरगेट टू शेयर इट विद योर फ्रेंड्स एंड फैमिली एंड ऑन सोशल मीडिया. साथ ही आप हमें लेटेस्ट अपडेट्स के लिए सब्सक्राइब कर सकते हैं अपने फेवरेट पॉडकास्ट प्लेटफॉर्म पे. आप हमें फॉलो कर सकते हैं @LittleFixesPodcast ऑन इंस्टाग्राम एंड फेसबुक. एंड इफ यू हैव एनी आइडियाज कि मुझे और किस बारे में बात करनी चाहिए लिटिल फिक्सेस पे, तो आप मुझे इंस्टाग्राम पे DM करके बता सकते हैं. आप मुझे ईमेल कर सकते हैं littlefixespodcast@gmail.com पे. तो आप मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीक. सो नेक्स्ट वेडनेसडे का वेट करो और सदा सैसी रहो. बाय.